beg you.
You beg? In my nightmares, I see my Nora behind the glass, begging to me with frozen eyes. How I've longed to see that look frozen on you.
Hello everyone, I'm Johnny, and today we are taking a look at Batman, the animated series. An old beloved favorite cartoon of mine when I was a kid. I thought the best way to revisit this cartoon would be by just exploring some of the best episodes. There are quite a few, but we're going to start with the best of the best, which is Heart of Ice. First, we have to acknowledge the distinct visual style of Batman TAS. It's a style that's been dubbed Dark Deco, a blend of film noir, Art Deco, and Gothic architecture. The animation is simple yet distinct, heavily using shadows and contrasting colors to create a great atmosphere for Gotham and the Batman universe. We further have to mention the iconic opening where the WB logo transforms by way of an airship's spotlights. This was not a cartoon intro I walked away from as a kid. We can further see how seemingly simple the introduction of Mr. Freeze is animated, but despite this, the bold use of color in his eyes, combined with the presence of his voice, makes this a very gripping and, chilling scene.
Rest well, my love. The monster who took you from me will soon learn that revenge is a dish best served cold.
So obviously I'm going to be adding to the hype of this series, for which there has been a lot over the years. So I do want to say this series is excellent, but remains targeted at youth, and it will have logic flaws and imperfections, acceptable within its genre. Some of the hype can be attributed to pure nostalgia versus objective critique. I wouldn't go as far to say the series is so good that it can be enjoyed by most people outside of those who appreciate the superhero animated genre. Adding to the hype, this particular episode did win a Daytime Emmy Award, and I'd agree it deserves it. This episode does have a lot going for it, primarily by introducing Mr. Freeze as a rewritten tragic character whose every word we cling to. Lines are so compellingly delivered that this 22-minute villain feels like a villain we've been fascinated with our whole lives.
I'm beyond emotions. They've been frozen dead in me.
This is where the animated series breaks from being inspired by the comic book universe and actually contributes to it. This is one villain that goes far beyond picking a theme for the pleasure of it, or for other shallow reasons. Freeze is a brilliant scientist pushing the ethical boundaries of science driven by love, which will tragically transform him and cost him his wife. This is a character created when a rational scientist and an irrational man in love experience an internal conflict, then fight an external conflict with a greedy, unforgiving corporation. When Mr. Freeze becomes emotionally frozen by grief, it'll be one character Batman likely can relate to the most, who too is often cold and motivated by the loss of family. Mr. Freeze's character could have easily been portrayed as more camp or silly. However, everything from his freeze ray to his suit has genuine tragic consequences. The writing also resists the urge to focus too much on the technology. This way we can remain focused on the characters and the story over such a short episode. Though I do have to acknowledge the subtle details surrounding the props outside of the story. The sound design in this episode, for example, is excellent. They really nailed how a freeze gun should sound in my imagination. You also have to laugh that the Batmobile was defeated by icy roads of all things. But keeping the action sequences a bit on the simple side in this episode pays off by not washing out character development. The episode grants further development to Batman himself. Batman has often tried to treat his opponents with mercy, but in this scene Batman actually saves and treats a nameless henchman, bringing him back to his Batcave. This is something we rarely see, and helps underscore the true extent of Batman's compassion, an important theme in this episode. As far as the quality of the writing in the episode goes, there are some standard Batman cartoon tropes, such as Batman and Mr. Freeze just conveniently coming across each other, making at least one confrontation a bit shortcutted. Furthermore, Batman's detective work is made easy by finding a tape recording of the tragic events leading to Mr. Freeze's turn to villainy. But that's fine, you have to expect these things in a 22-minute cartoon. For me, the best bit of writing outside of Mr. Freeze's lines is, and spoiler alert, is how Batman's cold, and ultimately Alfred's compassion, will win the day.
If you're going to go sneaking around a crowded office building, you'll need this.
Knockout gas?
Chicken soup. The only way to fight a cold.
Alfred was, of course, right in more than one way, and it's his thoughtfulness and empathy that saves Batman, who in turn helps Mr. Freeze. Though Batman stops Mr. Freeze from obtaining revenge, he does help him obtain partial justice for the events that turned him into what he is and doomed his wife. Due to the success of the episode, it becomes the beginning of a 4-episode and 1-film story arc for the character. Mr. Freeze was first introduced in Batman number 121 in February 1959, where he was more of a comic relief silly character, more of an easy character to make ice and cold puns with. But this reboot of the character is obviously more serious and introduces Mr. Freeze's wife, Nora Freeze, spelled F-R-I-E-S. This specific story arc continues in Deep Freeze, the feature film Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, the new Batman Adventures episode Cold Comfort, and is concluded in the Batman Beyond episode Meltdown. In the 1997 Batman and Robin movie, Mr. Freeze is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is further inspired by Heart of Ice, though far less serious. Heart of Ice ends with Mr. Freeze taken to Arkham Asylum and placed in a special Sub-Zero cell, made just for him. Mr. Freeze still begs for Nora's forgiveness, for not having avenged her. He is still clearly lost in his pain. Batman watches from outside, and you have to wonder if he relates to this pain and gains any insight into the motivations of his alter ego. Alright, I'm Johnny. Thanks for watching. It's been a real pleasure for me to explore this old series. It's been a great throwback to my childhood. Anyway, if you want me to do any further episodes, let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, do take care. Have a nice rest of your day.